I'm 84 years old, and I want to tell you something that many people do not understand until it is far too late. After 65, family is not enough. Now listen to me carefully before you get upset. I did not say family does not matter. I did not say children do not care. I did not say love is useless. I said family is not enough, because after a certain age, love by itself cannot carry what old age brings. Love cannot always drive you to appointments. Love cannot always organize your medicine. Love cannot always pay your bills. Love cannot always lift your groceries. Love cannot always sit with you when the nights get long and your thoughts get dark. And that is where many older people make the biggest mistake of their later years. They build the entire second half of their life on one emotional promise. My family will be there. And then one day, life tests that promise. Children get busy, grandchildren grow up, people move away, jobs get harder, health changes, money gets tight. And suddenly, the love may still be there. But the support is not strong enough. That is a painful truth. But it is still the truth. And if you understand it early, it can save you years of fear, disappointment, and quiet suffering. If you ignore it, it can leave you standing in old age with a hopeful heart and no real structure holding your life together. That is what I want to talk about today, the 5 pillars that truly matter after 65. Not the sweet lies, not the comforting myths, not the pretty family stories people like to tell in public, the real pillars, the ones that hold a life up when youth is gone, energy is lower, the body changes, and the world gets quieter than you ever imagined it would. And please stay with me until the end, because the last pillar, that one is the one most people ignore the longest, and in my opinion, it is the very reason so many older people stop feeling alive long before they stop breathing. When I was younger, I believed family would be enough too. Most of us did. That is how we were raised. Love your children, sacrifice for them, be there for them, do all you can. And one day, when your own hands become weak, theirs will hold you. It sounds beautiful. It sounds fair. It sounds like the way life should work. But life does not always move in fairness. Your children may love you deeply and still not be able to support you in the way you need. That is not always cruelty. Sometimes it is just reality. And reality does not care how beautiful the story sounded when you were younger. There was a time in my life when I did not understand that yet. I still believed if anything serious happened, family would simply step in and everything would work itself out. Then age came closer. Then my body changed. Then my life became quieter, and I began to see something that frightened me. Aging is not only about getting older, it is about becoming more dependent on structure. That is what younger people do not understand. When you are young, you can live in disorder and still recover. You can miss sleep and still function. You can make mistakes and still bounce back. You can live carelessly and still stay on your feet. But after 65, the small things matter more. A missed pill matters more. A bad fall matters more. A lonely week matters more. A money mistake matters more. A weak support system matters much more. That is why old age punishes fantasy. And the biggest fantasy of all is this: my family alone will carry me through. No. Family can be part of your support, a very important part, a precious part. But if it is your only pillar, your life is standing on something too fragile. And that brings me to the first pillar. Pillar 1, practical support. Not emotional support, not words, not promises. Practical support, the kind that helps with real life, the kind that shows up when something actually needs to be done. At this age, support is not just someone saying, "Call me if you need anything." Support is knowing who can take you to the doctor, who can check on you after a fall, who has a key to your house, who understands your medicine, who can help with groceries, forms, repairs, transport, or emergencies, who can be reached quickly, who will actually come. That last part matters more than people admit. Many older people are surrounded by kind words and empty structure. People love them, people care, people speak sweetly, but when real life happens, no one knows what to do. I have seen it too many times. A widow falls in her kitchen and lies there longer than she should because everyone assumed someone else would check on her. An older man misses 2 important hospital appointments because he depended on one son who got called into work. A woman cannot understand her medical paperwork, but she is too ashamed to admit it, so she smiles and says she will handle it. That is not support. That is danger wearing polite clothes. After 65, practical support must be clear, not emotional, clear. You need names, numbers, plans, backups. You need to know what happens if your phone dies, if your leg gives out, if you cannot drive, if you feel confused, if you need a prescription filled, if you are too tired to cook. And this is where most people waste precious time. They wait until the crisis comes, then they panic, then their children panic, then everyone starts making emotional decisions under pressure. And fearful decisions are rarely wise decisions. The time to build support is before you need it, not after. That is pillar 1, practical support. Without it, old age becomes much more frightening than it needs to be. But practical support by itself is still not enough. Because if the body is neglected, the whole structure starts shaking anyway. So pillar 2 is just as important. Pillar 2, health maintenance. Now, I do not mean chasing youth. That foolishness should end by now. I'm not talking about trying to look 40 at 84. I am talking about protecting what is still yours, preserving function, maintaining strength, catching problems early, respecting your body enough to care for it before it forces you to listen. After 65, little health issues stop being little for very long. Poor sleep becomes brain fog. Brain fog becomes bad decisions. Bad decisions become risk. Weak legs become fear. Fear becomes less movement. Less movement becomes more weakness. And before long, a person who only felt a little off now feels old overnight. I have lived long enough to see how fast decline speeds up once people stop maintaining themselves. And let me say something clearly. There is a difference between aging and neglect. Too many people confuse the two. They say, "Well, I'm old. This is just how it is." No, sometimes it is not just age. Sometimes it is poor eating, poor sleep, not enough water, no movement, ignored pain, skipped appointments, silence about symptoms, pride, denial. And pride is dangerous in old age, especially health pride, the kind that says, "I don't want to bother anyone," or "I'll be fine," or "I don't need to see a doctor," or "I'll deal with it later." Later is expensive at this age. Later can mean a worse diagnosis. Later can mean a fall. Later can mean losing strength you may not fully get back. Health maintenance does not mean perfection. It means honesty. It means paying attention, walking, even if slowly, stretching, even if gently, eating with purpose, sleeping with care, taking medication properly, telling the truth when something changes. And this is important too. Ask for medical help early, not dramatically late. Younger people can recover from neglect more easily. Older people often cannot. That is why this pillar matters. Because without your health, every other pillar gets heavier. And that leads to pillar 3. Pillar 3, financial stability. Now, I know many people do not like discussing money, especially older people. Many of us were raised to keep money private, to say, we're managing, even when we were scared, to hide trouble, to protect dignity through silence. But after 65, money is not just about comfort. It is about freedom. It is about choice. It is about whether you can solve a problem before it becomes a crisis. It is about whether you can remain in your own space, whether you can pay for transport, whether you can fix something broken, whether you can buy the medicine, whether you can get help without begging anyone for mercy. That matters so much more than younger people understand. I have watched too many older people lose peace, not because no one loved them, but because they had no financial stability. They could not move, could not repair things, could not get help, could not breathe. And once money gets tight in old age, fear enters every room. Then every decision becomes emotional. Do I buy this medicine or wait? Do I fix the heater or hope for the best? Do I ask my son for help again? Do I stay in a place I can no longer manage? Do I pretend I'm fine because I cannot afford not to be? That kind of fear changes a person. You do not need wealth, but you do need order. You need to know what comes in and what goes out. You need to understand your bills. You need some emergency breathing room if you can build it. You need to cut what no longer matters and protect what truly does. And most of all, you need to stop building your financial future on assumptions. Do not assume your children will sort it out. Do not assume problems will stay small. Do not assume you can always figure it out later. Later is not a plan. At this age, financial stability is not greed. It is dignity. It is the ability to make decisions without panic, and panic is expensive. Now, many people think once they have family, health, and money, that should be enough, but it still is not, because old age can be comfortable and still unbearably lonely. So Pillar 4 is one of the deepest pillars of all. Pillar 4, social connection. Not just people around you, real connection, people who know your voice, people who notice your absence, people who can sit with you without looking at the clock every 5 minutes, people who ask how you are and wait for the real answer. This pillar matters more than many older people admit, because after retirement, after widowhood, after children move away, after driving gets harder, after old friends pass on or drift away, the world can become very small, painfully small. And loneliness does not just hurt feelings. It changes the body. It changes the mind. It changes the spirit. A lonely person becomes quieter, then more tired, then less interested, then less social, then more isolated. And that cycle can age a person faster than any birthday ever will. I have seen older people who had money, decent health, and family who loved them, but they were still lonely enough to disappear inside themselves. Why? Because no one was woven into the daily shape of their life, no rhythm, no place to go, no one checking in, no one needing them, no one sharing small, ordinary life with them. People think loneliness is only about being alone. It is not. You can be in a house full of people and still feel deeply alone if no one really sees you. That is why this pillar must be built on purpose. You cannot wait for connection to magically arrive. You cannot wait for everyone else to have more time. You must create structures that keep you human in the eyes of others. A neighbor, a church group, a walking partner, a community class, a weekly lunch, a regular phone call, a routine place where your absence would be noticed. That matters. Do not underestimate the power of being known. But here is the deeper part. Connection is not just about receiving company. It is also about contribution. That changed everything for me. For a long time, I thought what I needed most was people around me. That was partly true, But it was not the whole truth. What I really needed was to still matter. That is a deeper hunger, a more painful one. After 65, many people do not only fear being alone, they fear becoming unnecessary. And unnecessary is one of the saddest feelings a person can carry. No one needs your opinion. No one needs your time. No one asks for your help. No one depends on your presence. That kind of emptiness is dangerous because it makes the days feel pointless, and that leads directly to the fifth pillar. Pillar 5, inner purpose. This, to me, is the pillar that determines whether a person merely survives old age or truly lives it. Purpose is not always grand. It does not have to be some big public mission. It can be quiet, small, simple, but it must be real. A reason to get dressed, a reason to leave the bed, a reason to care about the day in front of you, a reason to still engage with life. Without purpose, old age becomes a waiting room, and no one should have to spend the last years of life only waiting for a call, waiting for a visit, waiting for a doctor, waiting for the weekend, waiting for the next problem, waiting for the end. That is not a life. That is slow emotional starvation. Purpose can be faith, gardening, reading and reflecting, helping someone, volunteering, teaching, cooking, mentoring, listening, learning, caring for grandchildren, writing letters, checking in on neighbors, creating beauty in small ways. Anything that reminds you that your life is still moving outward, not only inward. Because once life becomes only about managing decline, something inside you starts dimming. And when that happens, even safety can feel empty. Even comfort can feel hollow. Even family visits can feel like interruptions in a life that no longer has a center. That is why purpose matters. It holds the spirit up. And a person with no inner purpose collapses faster than people realize. This is where many older people waste the second half of their lives, not in scandal, not in dramatic failure, in drift. They stop building, stop reaching, stop choosing, stop contributing. They wait for life to happen to them. No. After 65, if you still wake up, then your life still deserves shape, still deserves intention, still deserves meaning. Now let us bring these 5 pillars together: practical support, health maintenance, financial stability, social connection, inner purpose. These are the pillars. Notice something important. Not one of them says, just hope your family will be there. Family may be part of several pillars, a beautiful part, a loving part, but they cannot safely be your only support. That is too much weight for one pillar, too much hope placed on one fragile thing. Because what happens if family is tired, busy, far away, struggling, sick, financially stretched, emotionally drained, loving but limited? Then what remains? That is the question older people must ask, not in fear, in wisdom. What remains if family cannot carry all of me? If the answer is nothing, then the life is too fragile. You need more than one pillar. That is not cynicism, that is honesty, and honesty protects dignity. False comfort destroys it quietly. If you are younger and listening for someone you love, hear me well. Do not ask only, will Mom move in with us? Or, can Dad stay with my sister? Ask better questions. Who provides practical help right now? How is their health really being maintained? What does their money look like? Who do they see regularly? What gives their life purpose? Those are wiser questions, because sometimes older people do not need to be taken over. They need to be strengthened. There is a difference, a big one. And if you are older and listening for yourself, hear this gently. Do not wait until the crisis. Do not wait for a fall. Do not wait for a hospital visit. Do not wait until loneliness has already swallowed half your joy. Do not wait until money fear is already sitting on your chest at night. Build now, organize now, strengthen now. It is not weakness, it is wisdom. There is peace in structure. There is peace in knowing your life is not resting on one emotional promise. There is peace in knowing that if one pillar shakes, the others still stand. At 84, I do not say these things to scare you. I say them because preparation is a form of peace, and peace matters deeply in old age. Aging well is not about pretending you need nobody. It is about building a life that can hold you, a life with enough honesty, enough structure, enough support, enough meaning, enough connection to keep you standing when things get harder. After 65, family is not enough. Not because family is bad, not because love is false, because one pillar is never enough. You need practical support. You need health maintenance. You need financial stability. You need social connection. And you need purpose. Build those 5 pillars, and life after 65 becomes steadier. Ignore them, and even a loved life can still become a fragile life. That is the truth I wanted to leave with you today, not to make you afraid, to make you ready, because the people who grow old with the most dignity are not always the strongest. They are often the ones who prepared with the most honesty, and in the end, that honesty is what holds them up.